All right, I need to be sold on something. I got the perfect guy to sell me on it. We've heard Wolf of Wall Street sell me this pin. I need to be sold something else from former Houston Texan, 12-year NFL vet, Pro Bowler, Wade Smith. Also, we're going to talk about Andre Johnson, but we're not doing this same old stuff. We need to get some stuff that we haven't gotten. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you.
All right, you know why we're here. We're going to talk to Wade Smith, 12-year NFL vet, fresh from Ohio, Canton, Ohio, where his former teammate Andre Johnson was honored. He's also got a lot of things, a lot of takes in regards to what's going on with the Texans right now. We'll get to the bottom of that, as well as we got to get some real details. Enough of this Andre Johnson's a good teammate stuff. I've heard enough. I'm not saying it's not true, Wade, but I don't need the same old. You're going to say the same thing Schaub said. Schaub's going to say the same thing Kubiak said. Kubiak's going to say the same thing Arian said. Like we had Kubiak on here 2 weeks ago. I've heard enough of this. Okay, he's a great teammate. I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying we need something new for the people.
Okay, I feel that, man. It's good talking with you, Landry. I tell you what did Arian say? I miss what Arian said. What did Foster say about Dre?
I mean, Arian says the same thing. He just says it a lot different. Like it's just kind of, about business and all that type of stuff. Arian's a Barstool guy, man. So, Arian kind of saves himself for the Barstool vibe. But he basically said, I mean, really, it's the only thing that can be said. It's been the same. I think the thing with Andre Johnson's consistency. I mean, I think it's consistency. It's productive. Boring is probably like I don't mean that in a bad way. Sometimes it's good to be boring, but it's the same. It's the same thing. But we're going to change that though. A little bit later on in this visit, we're going to change that.
Okay.
You can't hold out on me, man.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna give you what I can give you. I don't know if it's gonna be what you want, but I'm gonna give you what I can give you.
All right. Well, okay. Well. We'll see. We'll see if I can do this. So have you seen, I know you like to watch an occasional movie. I don't know if you're like a movie buff and you have daughters that have a lot of activities, so you probably don't get to watch as many movies. But I would say when this movie came out, you probably could watch more movies than you can now. How old are your daughters?
My oldest is about to be 20. She'll be 20 in September.
Okay. So. And then all the way down to, you have 4, right?
Yeah, I have 4. So my youngest is 6. So I have 20-year-old, almost a 20-year-old and a 6-year-old. Okay. Yeah, we out here enjoying life, baby.
Yeah, you're enjoying it. So have you ever seen Wolf of Wall Street?
I have multiple times. Times.
And what does Leonardo DiCaprio say to the guy when he holds this up? What does he say?
He says, sell me this pin.
Okay. Well, in the spirit of that, I need Wade Smith, former Pro Bowl offensive lineman for the Houston Texans.
Right.
I need Wade Smith to sell me this O-line. Sell me this offensive line with the Texans. It's been a very sensitive topic around here. Yeah. Sometimes when they invest a lot in it, it really doesn't matter because you don't get the production.
Right.
Sell me this offensive line as a really good offensive line, not just better than last year, not just serviceable. Sell me this offensive line as a really good offensive line.
Health. This year, I think they're going to be healthy. They got the guys. They got the talent. They got Kenyon Green that's living up a little bit to what I thought he was, what a lot of people thought he was going to be coming into the league. They got the right system. It's very user-friendly when it comes to offensive line. It's the same system that we ran in 2010, 11, 12, when we were, one of the top offenses in the league. I think the skill position players that they have around them is the best that the organization has ever had. That's including, the teams that I was there, that they have going on at the quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, running back. That whole combination of players, I think, is the best collection of talent that the organization ever put together. So that makes things easier for the offensive line. I think they're deeper than what they were last year. A lot of those guys that played last year weren't frontline starters, but they got frontline starting experience. And so this year, now you have, Titus Howard. I think he got banged up a little bit in practice the other day, but I think he's going to be fine. But him playing in his best position at right tackle, Kenyon Green kind of doing what we thought he could do at left guard, Juice getting in his main position, which I think is center. Tunsil is Tunsil. Shaq Mason is Shaq Mason. So you if you got those guys all 5 healthy, you got a damn good offensive line just based off of their production. You add all the talent around them, you have an elite offense. And so if you have an elite offense, now people say your offensive line is top 5, top 3, all that type of stuff. Because it goes hand in hand. I don't care how good of offensive line you got. If your skill position players ain't doing well, you're not going to get the credit for that, because it's all about scoring points. It's all scoring touchdowns and big explosive plays. If you don't got the guys that can do that, the offensive line's not going to get the credit. Well, fortunately for the Texans, we got that. Like I said, the skill position between Nico, Diggs, between Tank Dell,
Schultz,
Joe Mixon, like you got guys like I don't know if certain guys are going to make the team or not that could start at other places. Like the receiving core is extremely deep. I didn't mention any of the tight ends yet, but all of those guys are solid. Like you said, Schultz, I like what I saw out of Stover so far, Brevin Jordan. Like there's a lot of names I'm throwing out there that can be matchup problems for teams. Xavier Hutchinson had a good preseason game the other day. It's a preseason game, but he looked good, and he did some good things last year too. Didn't mention Robert Woods. I can't pronounce the one kid's name from the Rams. I like that guy.
Skoranek.
How do you say it again?
Skoranek.
Yeah, that guy lined up with
man. He's out there.
They line him up as a fullback, and then you're running routes from the fullback spot with that guy. That's unfair. That's what the Rams did last year. I'm sure there's stuff that's going to be, if he makes the team, he's going to be able to do some stuff like that. So that's how I would sell the team. Like, listen, they have the talent to be a good offensive line. They have the pieces around them to help them be an even better offensive line. And if they're healthy, they're going to be an elite offense, and so you're going to get that credit of being a damn good offensive line. And then they have better depth than they've had in the recent years. Like they have depth in a lot of positions. I like that they just signed Cam Irving. That's a guy that's started a bunch of games in his career. That's quality depth. So to me, the team is building this roster to go the long haul. Like the moves that they're making is not moves to just see what we can do. Their moves to say like, hey, if we do lose a key piece, do we have somebody that can replace them and they can pick up the slack until they get back, and let's not miss a beat and still be able to compete with the top dogs in the league. And so it's a very exciting time to be a Texans fan. Yeah,
the thing that I think is interesting with them, to add to the offensive line, because I'm not the biggest Titus Howard guy. He's fine. He's good. You know, I know you're a big Titus guy. I'm fine with him. He's good. He's a good right tackle. He's fine. But I will say, we've texted a lot about this if y'all can't tell. But I will say that the thing that I like about their moves is, yeah, you can say they're going all in, but they're also keeping the powder dry. So it's not like one or the other. Like, oh, we're bringing in Danielle Hunter. It's a 2-year deal. Oh, we're giving Nico Collins an extension. Oh, but it's kind of going to expire when C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson's contracts kick in. Oh, we're drafting Blake Fisher, and eventually he's probably going to be one of your starting tackles. But, oh, by the way, he's the immediate day one swing tackle, and he's been getting all the first-team reps. So it's not something that I think you get used to. I don't think you can always in the NFL, especially you get better as you get better, have your cake and eat it too. But it almost seems like they're able to make these moves that are like they provide immediate satisfaction, and they're also good investments.
Yeah. Was doing a really good job of allowing the roster to stay flexible. You're not getting locked into any one person, any one position, to where you're putting all your capital into one spot. And I think he's done a really good job of that, of allowing, like, it's giving incentive for guys to continue to play at a high level. Like I really thoroughly thought that Laremy Tunsil's way of going about doing a business of just 3-year deals, it provides incentive for him to continue to play at a high level because he can re-up. But also, if something happens, or if he falls off of cliffs, then the organization is not tied to him. And so I think it would be beneficial in a lot of positions and a lot of organizations around the league for them to handle players like that, because the market continues to change. And that's why you see guys like Trent Williams holding out, because Trent Williams is hands down the best left tackle in the league. but because he signed a long deal, I think he might be top 8 or something like that as far as his pay. So then now, he has a problem, but he wants to re-up again.
It's
So
also reality, right? It's more honest because you can sit there and say, "Well, I got a 4-year contract." Well, it's really 2. Like,
right,
you can
right.
give Hunter a 4-year contract, but if it's not guaranteed in year 3 and 4, it's really like most NFL deals, even these big ass ones. Like a lot of times, those guys are on the street in 2 years, so it's really just kind of more transparent to what the playing field really is in this whole situation.
Yeah, it's like dudes, throwing money in the strip club. They throwing that money in the strip club to impress the other guys in the club, not the women in there, right? Getting those big contracts, they got 5-6 year deals that it looks good because it's, the total of it is $125 million, but actually only 40 of it is guaranteed. Those contracts is for the agents to say, look how much money I brought in for my client, but actually, it's not really that. So I'm all about, hey, getting the most value you can get right here and now, and allowing yourself flexibility to re-up and do it again in the future. If you're playing at a high level and you're the top player in the league at your position, don't get yourself tied down to this long deal to where you're looking up in 3 years and it's like I'm paid the 10th best and I'm actually still the best in the league. Allow yourself flexibility so you can re-up and you're not having to hold out, or you're not having to have these issues. And now you're getting bad press and you got fans going like, oh, it's all about the money. Like, nah, guys want to be paid based off of, their talent and their ability and their productivity. And when you get tied to these long deals, a lot of that stuff goes out the window. So like I said, I like the way Tunsil's doing it. I like the way that Caserio was kind of in that same thought process where he's allowing himself flexibility. He's putting that carrot in front of guys. Say, hey, if you keep playing well, if you keep playing at the level that we think you are, you're going to re-up again. Yeah. And then, and to me, I think that's a good way to operate.
It's an easier way to operate when your quarterback's on his rookie deal. Let's just be honest about that. And you have all these guys at premium positions on rookie contracts. So who knows if that's how it is, but with the cards that they're being dealt in the situation, they're doing a good job. By the way, was Wade Smith making it rain in the club with Andre Johnson? We'll figure that out in a second. Does Canton have strip clubs? We will find out. Do you think Super Bowl talk is too much? Do you think some people are very hesitant, very reluctant, never been to a conference championship, blah, blah, blah. We know that. Is Super Bowl talk too much when talking about the Texans?
That's a great question. I'm going to say, from my perspective now, as somebody that's on the outside looking in, I don't think it's too much. I think internally, if you're on the roster, I don't think it's too much. I do think guys talking about it in the media to you guys and saying, that's our goal to get to the Super Bowl, I think that you're adding undue pressure on you.
I'm blowing that up.
You got to do the one day at a time, one game at a time thing. But I think internally, when you're in the meeting room, in your locker room, you know what we're here to do. You know what we have the ability to do. The guys that are in this locker room, you see the moves that the higher ups are making for this team. So that's the goal, and that's what you're working towards. And you feel like you have a legitimate chance to do that. In 2011,
Tank has come out and said it. Tank has thrown out the words a couple of times. We've heard other guys too, but I think CJ was saying it from the jump. Like, that's just kind of CJ. He's always saying it,
and that's cool. Remember, I'm an offensive lineman. I'm gonna. If my quarterback says, "Hey, that's what we're gonna do," then that's what we're gonna do. You understand? We're gonna follow suit. But I would advise it against it, just because it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you in the long run.
And this is the player POV, right? Not the fan.
Yeah, this is the player POV. As a fan, I want to be able to talk noise to whoever and be like, oh, look who we got. We got this. This is the most talent we have in the league. We're going to the Super Bowl. I feel very excited about this roster makeup, the coaching staff, the higher ups in the front office. It's everything about what's going on with the organization right now. I'm very high on it, very excited about, and that's from the fan perspective. So, I'm ready to be able to talk noise to some of my coaches on my youth football staff that might former Colts players or former Jet players or former Packer players, whoever that I might come across. I can talk noise to them because I feel like this is the year that's going to go down.
All right, so this was an interesting rookie rookie class because I beat this point home. They basically traded back 19 spots and got Stephon Diggs. Like I keep hearing, well, they traded a second-round pick. No, there's no three-way trades in the NFL. When they got that second-round pick, they knew what they were doing with it. So if it were the NBA, we'd have the graphic. Texans trade back 19 spots, receive Stephon Diggs. Vikings send second-rounder to the Bills. That's what it was, okay? That's what they did. So this notion that they traded a second-round pick for Diggs is not accurate. They traded back 19 spots for Stephon Diggs. So in a way, that's kind of part of your rookie class if you're just going to look at how things are. The interesting thing for me with this rookie class, just watching practice and stuff, is originally when they drafted these guys, I was like, okay, these are chess moves. Like these are chess moves where you're drafting Kamari Lassiter and maybe he's inside, maybe he's outside, who knows. But eventually he turns into hopefully one of your starting corners. And then you draft Blake Fisher and it's like, okay, well, they're thinking 2 years down the line with Blake Fisher. We'll see what happens. And then you take Bullock, and it's like, well, he's skinny. He might not be ready. The top two guys have been starting from the jump. Like they've made no bones about it. And Lassiter's cornerback 2. Forget that outside noise. Blake Fisher, hey, Charlie Heck, sit the heck over there. Get the hell out of the way. All you other guys, get the heck out of the way. This is our starting left tackle. What do you think about this rookie class?
I'm excited about the rookie class. I tell you what we actually had like a get together with the rookies, and it was like a little bowling thing that we did. We had an opportunity. Some of the legends had an opportunity to talk to them, and one of the things, and a lot of things that were said, but it was one of the things was like the way this roster is set up. There's opportunities for you guys to plug in and be part of something special right off the bat. And a lot of rookies don't get to come into situations like the situation is here with the Texans. And I think I saw DeMeco say that in like maybe a month ago, that's like, hey, we're not going to wait on you guys. Like we have a goal and agenda with this roster. We have aspirations of where we want to go, and we're not going to wait for you guys to get it. So it was the opportunity us for to talk to them and be like, hey, man, find your role, get into it, fit into it, buy into it, and go out there and play ball. And you will have an opportunity to have a tremendous amount of success right off the bat. And a lot of rookie classes have that. A lot of rookie classes come into situations where you're on a bad football team. And this ain't that. But there's some definite opportunities for these rookies to play. And you're seeing guys take advantage of it. You're seeing Lassiter come in and take over that second cornerback role. Stingley is Stingley. He's going to hold it down on his side. Now you need somebody that's going to hold it down on the other side. Okay, now you got Lassiter. He's having a damn good training camp. He's going to have to continue to progress and get better. He's going to have a lot of opportunities because teams are going to try him.
Struggles are inevitable for a rookie corner, like really any rookie, but for a rookie corner, it's inevitable.
It's inevitable, but understand that you're not out there by yourself. Like I said, you're plugging into a certain role. He's got guys that can get after the quarterback. That helps you. Any corners, rookie corner, 12-year vet corner, that helps you to have guys that can get after the quarterback. The Texans have added guys on the roster, Daniil Hunter, Autry. They got guys that can get after the quarterback. Of course, you got Will Anderson. You added him last year.
You have to wait on Autry.
You got to wait, but he's going to come. He's going to show up eventually. So,
dude, Fatukasi's been better too, and Edwards has actually looked good too.
Yeah, they got some guys that you can tell that some of the moves that they made where you let go of Malik Collins. What's
Bernard?
Say that again.
Bernard.
Yeah. No, I was
Rankins.
Rankins. That's the other one. Rankins. You let those two guys go on the inside. You're like, damn, what we finna do? But then the guys that they have been playing, on the inside that have been here, they've been playing well. And
when I heard your former teammate DeMeco Ryans talk about these guys, because you know how I am with Podium Critic, and I want to get into that in a sec. I was like, man, he likes these guys. Like everyone's tripping about the D line, and I was like, dude, he likes these guys for some reason. I don't know if it's because maybe like gap discipline and all the extra stuff, or if he's just really dug into these guys. But I said it from the jump. I was like, for better or worse, I'm not saying whether this is the end all be all. Right. DeMeco Ryans likes this D line. Like he likes these guys. It does not feel like he feels like that's like a glaring need.
And that's the thing. If he didn't like them, they wouldn't stand pat. Like DeMeco understands that, and I think the offense and the defense both know, in order for these offenses and defenses to work the way that they run their things, the way the philosophy works, you got to have guys to do it. It's not a, hey, we can just plug anybody in these spots and make it work type of defense or offense. Maybe certain positions, I guess you can get away with that. Some people might say you don't have to have road grading, guards or whatever it is to play an outside zone system. But you got to have guys that are athletic and have the characteristics to run this scheme to make it work. And so if he wasn't
high on yourself on the back by saying that,
say that again.
I feel like there's a hidden meaning there. I feel like you're kind of patting yourself on the back by saying that.
I was actually denigrating myself by saying that, most people say that if you play guard in the system that you actually don't have to be that good to have success. So, but that's neither here nor there. But the guys that play defensive line in this defense, DeMeco Ryans, you look over their history with the 49ers, they had guys that can go. They always had guys that can go. And so he needs guys like that for his defense to work. So he had to have been excited about what he had interiorly for him to let some of those guys that we knew about to let them go. So I just don't see a scenario where DeMeco is going to sign off on not going out there and requiring the right kind of players to fit into his scheme. That doesn't clear. So I would say that's a huge vote of confidence for those guys. And like some reassurance for fans that are kind of like, well, I don't know, like, what's going on with this? We let these guys go, and we got a couple of guys that we really don't know much about that are in these roles.
And speaking of DeMeco, you know him pretty decently, you know him pretty well. I remember I've told this story many times. I just remember there were hours before the press conference. I was hosting a show with Wade Smith. Wade Smith was to my right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about DeMeco Ryans, and I was talking about the excitement, and I was talking about the press conference, and I was like, the basic bitch radio question type of thing. Maybe a little bit of mustard on it, but like, what do we want to hear from DeMeco Ryans? Like, what are we going to hear from DeMeco Ryans? What is he going to talk about? And you just looked over at me and you just go, just watch, just watch. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? And you're like, trust me, you like press conferences. Just sit back and watch. And I went in there and I said this. I said, I almost feel like it's like the best of both worlds, because he could have gone up there and just had no substance and not said anything, and people would have been excited because he's DeMeco, because he played here, and you would have been like excited no matter what, just based on everything, because there is that nostalgia that comes with it. But on the other side, he could have played in Canada, or he could have played for the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And with what he actually said, it would have been an elite press conference. So it was almost like the best of everything there. And you immediately did kind of see just how he kind of owns the room and how he's always kind of in control.
Yeah, like when we were standing on the table about that, before he got hired, a year before he got hired, it was one of those deals where it's like it's a win-win situation. You got a guy that actually is a damn good football coach, but then he also was one of the favorite sons of the organization, one of the top leaders that ever walked through the organization. And like you talk about the nostalgia, like people loved DeMeco Ryans when he was a player for this team. He did so much for the city, played at a high level. Then he left and went to Philly, and they loved him the same way there. And I was fortunate enough to be teammates with him at both places. So you see that. So now he translates that into being a coach, and he coached at an extremely high level. I think he won assistant of the year when he was with the 49ers, and he should have been, head coach of the year last year. That was a sham. But that's what you get. You get a guy that actually can coach at a very high level, X's and O's, inspirationally, but also checks all the boxes of that. Hey, he's one of our guys, and he wanted to come here. Like you really can't write it up any better than that. And so that's why I was just kind of like, just wait and see. Like, you don't understand. Everybody doesn't fully understand what they're getting with this. And you were very thankful that the organization got it right, because there's so many things over, let's say 3 years previous to this, where you see like, okay, please, I hope they don't do that. And then they did that. Or what the hell are we doing type of decisions being made. And so you start getting gun shy and thinking to yourself, well, man, we might not ever get right around here. And so then when you start seeing them making good decision after good decision, good after good decision, and it is continued from the decision to bring DeMeco to various things that have happened since then. I mean, that's where all the excitement comes from. That's where all all the feels, the feeling, the vibes that are around the facility, in the city. It's for a reason. You know, one thing led to another. It was all consequences and results of good decision making, and so it's exciting time.
Do you think there's like a little bit of an overreaction? And I don't mean this like in a bad way. I just think whenever I talk to people in here, or whenever I talk to people like in the chat or whatever, or people on the streets and stuff, it's like, well, they got to make the AFC Championship now, and there's all these like expectations. But let's just say that the Colts don't drop the pass, and let's say that the Jags beat the Titans and you end up losing to Buffalo. Like, I don't know that I would be any less excited. I don't want to say they're ahead of schedule. It kind of feels like there is still somewhat of a process, but in the game of inches, all that, things could have gone a different way. And I just don't necessarily think that, like, if they don't make the AFC Championship this year, I don't necessarily think that means that they've lost momentum. Like, I just think that sometimes it be like that.
I look at it like this, man. The way that they built the roster right now, we're going to be good for a long time. And the key positions that you need guys to be excellent, to be elite players, you have the quarterback position. You have young DBs that are looking like they're going to be playing at a high level for a long period of time. You're just creating opportunities for yourself to have tremendous success, not mediocre success, tremendous success. And the way the league works, hey, you're going to have some bounces go your way. You're going to have to keep some guys healthy and clean in order to win a championship. Like, there's not a lot of teams that win Super Bowls that didn't have their starting quarterback for the entire year. It just doesn't. That's why when it happens the other way, it's so rare and it's so notable. So if you got a healthy C.J. Stroud all year long, the expectation is you're going to win a bunch of damn football games. And he ain't going nowhere, and they're not going to let him go anywhere. So that means that every year you feel like you're legitimately in it. And so, is this the year that we get over the hump? I certainly hope so. We have the pieces to do so, but you got to go out there and play the game. And so I'm excited to see him do it. But can you imagine defenses having to slow down Diggs, Dell, and Nico at the same time? Like, how do you?
I can't. And
it doesn't seem fair. And CJ's the one throwing the ball. It's not like it's it's not like I don't want to say anybody's name, but it's not other guys. It's CJ Stroud.
Well, the other thing about it that I think is funny is not funny, but I think they're just as elite on the edge, which I think is really, really big. I think Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, I think that's kind of a little bit of a scary thing too. Like, I like these receivers, and right now for me, Diggs looks like wide receiver one. It seems like they have like a chemistry, but that could go a number of ways. But I think they're just as elite on the edge, which is just as important as anything else. That's kind of what's terrifying for me, is you can get after the quarterback.
Yeah, and with the quarterbacks in this division and in the AFC, you got to be able to get after the quarterback. So it just seems like the decision makers are on the right page of how do you build a roster to win big.
Yeah. And you also DeMeco, because, and I don't know what the Diggs thing is. Like, I've talked to his former teammates. I never heard that he was a crappy teammate. Like, I'm going back to Minnesota, like Brian Robinson, like he's never said anything. Had Cole Beasley on. They're buddies. Like he's not. It almost seems like there's like some revisionist history type of thing with Buffalo. And oh, by the way, they were getting rid of everyone because of the money situation. So, but even then, you're more willing to bring in someone that might have a reputation when you have someone like DeMeco.
You got to understand that teams will dirty up guys when they leave out the door. People dirtied up. They dirtied up DeAndre Hopkins when he was leaving out the door. That actually happened. Like really, he was not a bad teammate. But that happens. You know what I mean? That is not a inconsistent thing that happens in the league. You got to make it look good when you make decisions that are tough decisions. You got to try to spin it the way you can spin it so it doesn't look as bad. I think Buffalo there was some of that to it. DeMeco is kind of he's like the 2024 version of a no nonsense type of guy. The way things are done in the league now a little different than when I was there, and different than it was, definitely different than it was before I got to the league. And so, as far as no nonsense goes, DeMeco is that. And he commands respect, and it's not phony. It's not, something. It's a natural.
It's not hardo. It's not like hardo. Like you're gonna. Yeah, it's just
like I said, he commands respect, and it's not. Like I say, there's nothing fake about it. There's nothing fugazi about it. It's just straight up and down. You're going to naturally gravitate to a guy like that. You're going to naturally want to live up and do your job around a guy like that because, it's one of those things you don't want to let him down. Like Kubiak, same way. You see, we'll talk about Ken a little bit later, but you see the way guys gravitate around and want to do well for Gary Kubiak. It's the same type of thing for DeMeco. And so when you have those type of guys, guys that coming from other places, they want to be around guys like that. They want to have a coach that holds them accountable and they want to play for. All football players at some point in their life have some coach that they look up to and they want to impress and they want them to see, look what I did, coach. Like, and that doesn't change when you get in the league. Like, when you're 12 years old and you're playing, you'll have some of those coaches. But when you're 32 years old, there's still those type of guys that you have that relationship with that you want to do well for. And so, DeMeco is one of those type of guys. And so, I think Stephon Diggs is probably extremely thankful that even though he's in this heat down here, he's in a much better situation for him to have success, for his team to have success than what he had going on in Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, hello intangibles, goodbye 9/11 references. Wade Smith here with me. We're going to get to the bottom of this Andre thing in a sec. So we've talked really good about the Texans. It's hard not to. I think their floor is high. Like that's the thing for me. Like the ceiling, a lot of teams have a high ceiling, but they have a low floor. I think their floor is really high. Like worst case scenario. Like I don't see any, like I don't predict injuries, but I don't see any situation where we're watching Sunday Night Football and they do that in the hunt thing where the Texans aren't in the graphic. Like right there in the mix, even worst case scenario. So that's kind of how I look at it. But let's stop being positive.
Okay.
And let's talk about our biggest concern for this ball club, because there's a lot of good things to feel. What is Wade Smith's biggest concern for this ball club?
I'm not sure about the safety position. Just because youth, health, the combination of youth and health makes me a little concerned about the safety position. And the safety position is an important one for the way DeMeco plays defense. If Jimmy Ward is healthy all year,
that's a big if, though. Great. Big if.
It's a big if because he's had issues with that in the past. But when he's out there, he's a high level guy, and in multiple ways, not just by performing, but what he brings to the table leadership wise. He's one of those guys that brings the guys along with him. But you got a couple of young guys. You got Eric Murray. That's a decent player, but he's not a guy that you necessarily want to be the starting safety if you can help it. If you can have a younger, more higher ceiling guy like a Bullock or a Petrie, I don't know what they're going to do with that situation, but to me, that's the one position where I say to myself, there's concern there. I'm not really concerned about cornerback because they got a lot of guys there. Like they got some depth there, some guys that are high first round draft picks,
and they're going to pressure the quarterback.
Say it again.
And they're going to pressure the quarterback.
And they're going to get after the quarterback. So, but the safety spot that would be my one concern. I'm trying to think about any offensive position that concerns me.
What about linebacker depth?
I guess maybe. But depth. You're going into injuries. They need two really good linebackers. That's the way they played in San Francisco. And a lot of things when I think about the Texans defense, I think about how they played in San Francisco. They had their two linebackers, and you really didn't know about the other guys like that. It was just those two. And so, the Texans have the two. So we'll see what happens with that. But the safety position offensively, I don't see any
weakness. Running back depth.
Definitely not running back depth. When they added Cam Akers.
Oh, Akers there.
Huh?
You're there. Well, Achilles is the new ACL. It is kind of interesting. And I realized that as soon as I saw him moving. Like, they got the new surgery, and he's had 2 of them in 3 years.
Yeah, but he's the third guy.
Remember our day? I don't want to date us. Remember back in the day, the torn ACL was almost like,
yeah, it was a wrap. You
oh
know,
my gosh.
see you next year.
Yeah.
But it's times and
Maybe not.
Yeah. So yeah. Unfortunately for some guys, that's true. But
So the safety thing is interesting to me because, like, I'm hearing all this buzz about Jalen Petrie playing nickel. And first of all, that doesn't, like, I'm not really comfortable with that. I'm not, like, that's fine, like, if you want him to do that, but I find it hard to believe that, like, a Shane Steichen's not going to see Jalen Petrie matched up with a receiver in the slot and be able to take advantage of that in some way. But the other thing is, let's just pretend that he's a great nickel. Let's pretend that Jalen Petrie has found his home and they're using him right and all that. Now I'm looking in the back and I see Eric Murray starting at safety. So, like, even the thing that's getting the most buzz is kind of like, well, okay, I like Eric Murray. He's grown on me. Like, I think he's a good, productive player. I think he's good depth. I think there's times where he might need to start. But like week 1, Eric Murray, fully healthy, starting, kind of scares me just a tad. And I heard some people saying, well, you heard what Jimmy Ward said about how good Jalen Petrie looks in nickel. That's because he doesn't want to play it. That was like the biggest debate about it with him and DeMeco. They're like, Jimmy Ward's, oh, did you hear what Jimmy Ward said about Jalen Petrie at nickel? It's because he doesn't want to play it, man.
I'm not going to debate that possibility. There might be some might be some ulterior motives behind that vote of confidence, but I do think Petrie at nickel, they're going to utilize him, allow him to blitz, get into the backfield.
He's looked good. He's looked good at it. He's looked really, really good at it, actually.
Yeah. So, like I said, Eric Murray is solid. And you know what? The thing about good defenses and good teams, they don't always have every spot that is an elite, name brand guy on the team, and in order for it to go, it actually works in your favor sometimes to have a guy that's just solid, a guy that's consistent and solid. And Eric Murray is a consistent and solid football player, whether he's doing it on special teams or when he's having to play defense full time. He's a solid football player, and you like one of those, those glue guys. Those are necessary for you to have a championship run and have good football teams. And so, if that's the case, I think I might have heard you say this. It's one of those things, just trusting DeMeco type situation. Because if he felt like, hey, we can't get it done with this guy, he's gonna be like, Nick, we need to make a move to get somebody else in here, because in order for my defense to work, I need these guys. I need guys that can get it done. And so if he's out there, that means he's got confidence in him. I don't necessarily think that that's the case with a decent amount of coaches and relationships between coaches and front offices in the league. I think that sometimes it's like one of those deals where, like, hey, you got to make it work, coach. And I don't think DeMeco is like one of those type of guys where it's like, yeah, they just gave me what they gave me and I'm gonna have to just make it work. Nah, he ain't that. And I don't think Nick is gonna be one of those type of GMs to be like, hey, you got to make it work. I think he understands with the like I said, the philosophy, what they do on offense and defense, you need the guys to make it go. And when it goes, it's beautiful. You watch the San Francisco 49ers, when their skill guys are healthy, that offense is unstoppable. You really, you're getting blown out a lot. Teams are getting blown out by them. It doesn't look fair. They have their issues when guys get banged up, or sometimes when that quarterback position that they don't invest as much in, or they have, just average guys at that spot, it catches up to them in the big game. Well, fortunately for the Texans, they got the big game quarterback. And so health is health. That's the thing that you really can't control. But you can control, hey, the guy that can win us a game at that quarterback spot, we got that guy. The 49ers didn't have that. They had all the other guys, but they didn't have the quarterback that could win them the game, talking about Garoppolo. I like Purdy, but he hasn't struck me as like he is that guy to go win us the game. So, I think that's why they've had their shortcomings. And their shortcomings are losing Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Losing in NFC Championship game.
It's
a higher bar there.
Do you like the new kickoff?
It looks weird, dog.
No,
I'm be honest with you. It's weird, bro.
You did see him practice it, right?
I haven't been to practice yet. I'll get to
Okay.
go to practice in the next couple of days. I've been out of town, so I haven't seen it in person. But I watched it in the preseason. It just looks weird, bro. Like
Is it worth it? You think like at some point do you just kick it? I mean, the average starting was the 26. You're talking about the 30. I mean, and also I don't think this is eliminating collisions. I asked DeMeco about it. about it, and he was like, he went really, really in depth, like 2 minutes on it, but he was basically like that Hansen collision was pretty intense. And they're like a lot of times they're hitting guys and not even knowing that it's coming. So I don't know that if the goal is to make the play more exciting, congratulations. If the goal is to eliminate collisions, I don't know that you're necessarily doing that.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like awkward body movements that they're doing that they have never done before in a lot of cases. And so when you're put in awkward positions, that's where injuries happen. And I'm sure if you rep it long enough, guys will start getting used to some of the positions they're being put in, and that awkwardness will go out the table. But is it worth it as far as in the long run? You know, is it exciting enough for play? Is it worth it to go through those growing pains that you're going to have to get to that point? It doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of running lanes to where, you know, you're going to be able to spring guys. It just doesn't look right. And that's because, you know, our entire lives, the kickoff returners look the exact same way. So this is something new. And so, you know, you train your eyes to think to yourself, like, where's the crease going to come? And it just looks awkward, bro. So if I was a special teams coach, I'd be a little off put by having to do it. But it looks weird, bro. It's awkward.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because it's viewing and we're talking about it, and it's But if I'm a coach, we're kicking it out. I'm not making Fairbairn try. No, I mean we've seen Fairbairn get hurt more than anything. Like I'm not making Fairbairn even like a percentage of him trying to make a tackle. Kick it out, 30, 26.
Yeah,
let's go. Like we're fine.
What's the kid's name that plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves that has that ugly ass jumper? You know what I'm talking about? The 3-and-D guy. He's
Anderson.
Yeah, that's what the kickoff return looks like to me right now. That dude's jumper.
It looks like he pushed the wrong button on 2K.
Yeah, it's like that. I need. Yeah. Hopefully it changes. We'll see on Friday, and you know, for the rest of this weekend, we'll see if it starts to clear up. But it looks real awkward right now.
Ooh, it's going to be weird. So who do you think is the biggest threat in the AFC South? Colts could have won the division last year. Jacksonville, they could have won the division. I'm not really even bringing the Titans into the conversation. I don't consider them a threat. Who do you think's the biggest threat?
That's a good question, man. Like, I like what the Titans did with the receiving position, but who's gonna get them the ball? Like, I don't believe in that guy.
Not Gosh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in that guy that's throwing the ball up there. So I don't see how that's gonna work out. The Colts, you know, they got a good running back, decent offensive line, like one of the better offensive linemen. Their defense is pretty good. You know, I would probably have to say the Colts. The Jaguars, I'm being honest with you, man. How do you pronounce it? How do you say it? How do you say it? People just say the Jags to get away with it, but how do you say Jaguars? Did I say it right?
I just say Jaguars. I just say Jaguars. Yeah.
Okay.
I
need somebody from Jacksonville, or somebody that's just phonetically gifted to list in your chat at the bottom, like, how do you phonetically pronounce that word? Because people Jaguars, I'm not sure, but the
they got a good front seven though, man. I'm a little worried about it. I know they added. I don't know what Armstead's going to be, but their front seven's pretty underrated.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
that's cool.
They don't do it for me, and maybe they are the biggest flip, but to me, it's very difficult for me to say Jacksonville, that team is our biggest threat in the division. It was never that way when I was there. It hasn't been that way since I left. Even through all the different iterations of the team, we tend to beat up on Jacksonville. So
even when they're good,
yeah, that's going to be the biggest threat. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Colts. I think they might be quarterback proof. I think Shane Steichen's awesome. I think they got a running back from start to finish that was the best player on the field the last time the Texans faced him. They're more healthy. They had some interesting draft picks. I thought Adonai Mitchell was kind of a steal with Pittman, and I
I like Pittman a lot.
I actually think that Steichen got, you say DeMeco got screwed. Shane Steichen didn't even finish top 5 last year in Coach of the Year voting, which I think is ridiculous.
Well, he didn't win his division. He lost the playoff game at home.
But come on.
And he lost the game at home to go to the playoffs.
Top 5, Gardner Minshew at quarterback, top 5. Jonathan Taylor mad all year, top 5. I said top 5. I didn't say win it. Top 5. Come on.
Who else deserved it last year? Let me think.
I thought Stefanski could have made a case, and then DeMeco.
Stefanski should have been in there, Miko, but it was some other guys that
Harbaugh. I mean, you could have gone Harbaugh if you wanted. Baltimore was good.
They were great. I mean, Andy Reid could get it every year.
Yeah, he could get it.
So, yeah, it's NFL head coach of the year, or is it AFC, NFC? It's NFL, right?
NFL, yeah.
Yeah, so you got Shanahan. There's a lot of guys that should be in the top 5. I thought Steichen did a decent job last year. But, when it mattered the most, he got beat at home.
He did.
That really happened.
That did happen. All right, so this is where we're going. By the way, the guy who won it didn't win his division either, Kevin Stefanski. So there it is. So
and he didn't deserve it.
So the Andre Johnson stuff, I'm not going to do what all the local news stations have done. I'm not going to do the same old. Wait, tell me about Andre as a teammate. And then all of a sudden we have 10 minutes of, he just showed up to work every day and, he was always about his business and he always performed and, man, he treated practice like the game and there's never been – forget that. We've heard that. You were on the scene at the Hall of Fame celebration.
It was a great couple of days, bro, for real.
Okay, so let's get behind the scenes and let's figure out what that was like. And we're going to start with this question. Who was the drunkest former Texan there? If you had to power rank, who was the drunkest, and Travis Johnson doesn't count, who was the drunkest former Texan there?
I'm going to let you guess. I'm just say the school and
Chris Myers.
Definitely not Chris Myers. I'm gonna give you the school and then I'll let you guess. So it was a UT Vol for sure. Was the drunkest
Earl?
Earl went to Arizona, dog.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the people in your chat will be able to figure it out, but it was a UT Vol, and Arian was not there. So it was a UT Vol. He was the former Texan that got the drunkest. But there was a lot of guys that had a good ass time. Don't get it twisted. We all had a good time. There was the Texans did a great job of providing multiple opportunities. Dre, the Texans, everybody involved, multiple opportunities for us to come together, hang out, celebrate. Before the events, before the various happenings, goings-ons out there afterwards, it was a great time, man. A lot of connecting of people you hadn't seen in a long time, people that you wouldn't expect to be there, all in the same building. It was like a family reunion. Family reunions aren't always the best things. It was like a family reunion and nobody had any beef.
I said Earl, I meant Fred. Yeah, Fred. It was Fred Weary.
There you go.
Why did I say Earl? Fred. Yeah, Fred Weary.
No question. Hands down. Hands down. Great time.
Kubiak can tie it up a little bit.
He can what?
He can get down. Kubiak can get down when he wants to.
He always holds court. You're not gonna scare him with a good time, and people want to be around him. And he wants to be around people. He loves his guys, and it was good to be around them and us all to be there. I'm sure y'all seen some of those videos where
Scarface with the band.
Yeah, Scarface. Yeah, listen, Dre brought the whole city out. The state of Texas was out there in Houston. I mean, in Canton, but then also, he had his connections from guys from the U. So you had a lot of players from the U.
Devin Hester made me tear up, man.
Yeah, man. He came out to the after party it was other Hall of Famers coming to Dre's party afterwards. It was, hey man, they did a good job. Shout out to Disney Harris from the Houston Texans, man.
So was it just a one-day thing, or did y'all was it a multiple day thing? Did y'all
it was
crazy before? What was it like?
It was probably 4 days worth of activities that was set up. You had the game, and then you had activities all day, the day after the game, and then the enshrinement day, and then they had something the day after the enshrinement. But guys came in when they can come in town. Like I didn't get in town until like I got in town right around the time they were doing the Hall of Fame Gold Jacket dinner. So I didn't make it to the dinner, but they had like an after party for the Gold Jacket dinner after that at like a little local kind of like a Top Golf place, but it was indoor place. And that was great. That was like a great night. And everybody was there. This is the night before the actual Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony. So you had that going on, and you had the parade the next morning, and then you had the actual enshrinement. And we were all sitting together in our section over there at the enshrinement ceremony. And some guys had the shades on because they didn't want to show any tears. I had my shades on, bro. You wasn't gonna catch me on camera.
Yeah.
So, but it was thoroughly enjoyable experience for myself, and I'm sure for everybody that got to be a part of it.
Dude, all y'all linemen are like skinny now. Like I saw you put a picture up with you, Winston, and Myers. Myers looks like he's on crack. Like if we're being honest, like he looks. I don't know if he's like on Adderall or what, but Myers, you need to put some damn weight on. I think Fairbairn could beat up Myers these days. But y'all are all skinny now.
Yeah, man. We don't have any. Like the only big guy that's still left. The only big guy is Dwayne because he's still available to play.
Yeah.
D Brown is.
You think he's going to get skinny? I could see Dwayne getting fat when he quits.
Nah, he works out too much. He cares about the way he looks and feels too much. He ain't gonna get big. He's gonna get smaller. He gonna be like. Did you ever see any pictures of Brooks? Brooks when he after he retired from Philly.
Yes.
Like dude was like cut up, rocked up. I could see him. I could see D Brown doing something like that, being like Brooks.
Okay, just getting extra.
I can see that. Yeah, like getting extra cut up. I can see that because he works out. He works out. He trains all the time. He cares about what he looks like and all that type of stuff.
See, the ultimate example, but he had surgery was Nate Newton, and I that's my boy right there. But he got like insanely skinny. He's kind of evened out, and I just got both knees replaced actually.
That's something you notice when you go to the Hall of Fame, man. Like those guys, they put their body through a lot, bro. And you can see it and you feel it yourself, but I'm like, dang, it's coming. Like, but that's I guess it's the price you pay for living out your dream and being, one of the best.
Well, and I don't know if it's as much the case anymore because you'll always hear DeMeco kind of subtle and he'll be like, yeah, I really could have used an off day. Man, I really, back in my day, we could have, we're not really taking guys to the ground now. It's like you can kind of tell there's a little bit of a different feel, different vibe when it comes to that.
Yeah, you understand that, DeMeco, I would say he's one of the more, I think you call him a hardo coach, but like something.
No, he's not a hardo coach. He's a hardo, but it's natural.
Right. Like he's gonna push guys, but he also understands that, hey, we got to take care of these guys. It's very much so like Kubiak. Like he's a player's coach. He's a guy that, he understands that, hey, we got to get physical at a certain point. But once we feel it and understand what that's like, then all right, now we need to pull it back and take care of it. So because we gotta be ready to play on Sunday, or we gotta be ready to play on Thursday night, or whatever it may be. So yeah, I think he's doing a really good job of having a happy medium. The guys are not gonna be shocked by I'm in the middle of a fist fight now. This is actually football actually is a physical thing. Like, and I think there's some teams that happens to. There's some teams that they have no contact until the lights come on, and guys got to remember, like, oh yeah, this actually is a fight, and then it might take them a little bit to get back into the mix again.
So I haven't got to ask you about this. It's been a while, but you've been traveling a lot. Jacoby Jones, you have any thoughts on Jacoby Jones? I always said that I never really saw someone like say anything bad about him, like his teammates and stuff, and we talked to a lot of them. And it's almost like it's just a smile immediately. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything. Yeah, hell, y'all might have hated each other for all I know.
Nah, I don't.
But it just seems like everybody kind of has.
I think a person that hated Jacoby Jones is a weirdo. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it always seemed like it was just kind of like the life of the party type of thing, and it just interesting, like very, very charismatic guy.
He there was no one that he didn't know or wasn't willing to get to know. And like you said, he was always the life of the party. He always he just brought good vibes wherever he was at. The last time I saw Jacoby, You know, I told you I coached youth football. We were going to like a little local pizza spot to get some pizza. To get some pizza and talk about, you know, what we were going to plan on doing that year for the roster. And Jacoby's just up there at the bar by himself. Like, bro, what you doing up here? And he's just like, man, you know, that was his spot. You could tell it was like some cheer stuff. Like everybody knows Jacoby's going to be over there at the bar holding court. And that's where he was at. And we were supposed to be there for like an hour or so, hour and a half. But I was there for like 4 or 5 hours. And I remember genuinely thinking at the end of that night, man, dang, I love that dude, man. I'm glad I got to see him because it was completely unexpected. And so, you know, I took the news hard. A lot of guys took the news hard. But I would just say that, man, that dude lived his life the way you're supposed to live your life. He enjoyed every day to the fullest. He was doing the things that he wanted to do while he was here. And you really can't ask for more than that. I mean, a lot of people lose their lives prematurely, but that it really caught me off guard, caught a lot of people off guard. And we're definitely going to miss him.
Yeah, and underrated ass. I mean, I know most people remember, but that Ravens, that playoff stretch was, I mean, that was godly. I went back and watched like an NFL films, and it was in his own words. It's kind of cool. Like he was saying, yeah, halftime of the game. I'll be honest, I wouldn't listen to anything Coach said because I was watching Beyonce, and he's like, they're like,
that's Jacoby though.
He had the touchdown catch. He had the kick return. He had the catch in the Broncos game. Where they tied it up against Manning.
Yeah.
Like, he probably should have won MVP if we're being honest. Like, I think he could have easily, but I mean, that whole run, I know people remember the kick return, but God dang, he flipped the switch.
Yeah, I watched the episode you did on Jacoby. I thought you did a really good job of that. At that time, like, it was really the first time that I really sat down and allowed myself to watch stuff like having to do with him.
Yeah.
And I thought you did a really good job with it. And I remember living through that of him being on our team, making plays, being, you know, one of our favorite teammates. And then the way things ended here in Houston, it was rough.
The Baltimore muff, because he said, man, I muffed it, and it was the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So the way that the fans felt about him and stuff like that, it just didn't end the right way. It's very similar to how like it was with Schaub. You know, the way it ended with Schaub wasn't a good way it ended. But the fact that he left the next year and went out to Baltimore and made so many plays in order to help them win, I was so happy for that dude. Like I remember jumping up and down watching the games in the Super Bowl when he takes the kickback, catches the ball, takes it. I forgot it was how. It's like it seemed like an 80-yard take.
108.
Yeah, not the kick. I'm talking about the catch he made where he cut back.
Oh, the catch, yeah.
Yeah, and so he did all that in the biggest game at the crib, and I was just like, man, like I'm so happy for him because, like I said, it didn't end the way we would have liked it. Any of us, he would have liked it. Us would have liked it in Houston, and so I was just so happy for him. And so for him to have like that success, and then just to see him go on Dancing with the Stars and do all the different stuff that he did, and them actually get to see like the guy that we got to hang out with all the time, the world to see, you know. And so you could see the various people that were just like, wait, what? Jacoby died? Like, and like I say, he affected a lot of people in a really positive way. And so if that's his legacy, man, you really can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, no doubt. Wade, I appreciate you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. I know you're busy, and quite frankly, I have a new respect for you. Not as much respect as I do Cecil Shorts, but
yeah,
I got one that's about to be one. She's going to be one in about a week and a half. It's a little bit of she's already running up steps and stuff.
Are y'all doing like a party with a bunch of other adults there? What are y'all doing for the first birthday party?
Yeah, so we're gonna go out to DFW where the wife is from and the old stomping grounds, and we're gonna have a little pool party. She likes to swim, man.
Okay, I didn't know your wife was from the crib too. That's what's up.
Yeah, she's out there. So yeah, she's from the mean streets of HP. You know, it's kind of tough out there. You know, it's rough, man. Hey, we got to be careful.
Mean streets of HP.
We better lock the doors.
You
man.
mean Hamilton Park? I didn't realize she was from Hamilton Park, dog. That's the HP I know. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's different HPs.
There's different HPs. No question. No question.
But man, I appreciate you. I'm sure I'll see you at practice soon, and I'm very happy I got to catch up with you, talk to you about Andre, talk to you about Jacoby, talk to you about the Texans. I'm sure we'll probably do it over the course of the year, but it's much appreciated, my friend, for you giving me a little bit of your time.
All right, man. It's always real, fellas.
There you go. I was going to tell you to hit the trademark. You already knew. That's Wade Smith. Appreciate everyone for coming through. It's been another edition of The Locker Room. Subscribe, like, right along. The great Wade Smith. Some insight there. Hope you enjoyed that. We got some more special guests joining us throughout the week. We got a game tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Thank you so much.
What we about to do, localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days.